way. Let's see the old stuff here, pal. Come on now. Chuck him, baby. Hum,
Please,
baby,
don't,
hum, baby. Here's
don't.
the pitch. And he is out of here.
What is up, guys? It is Ben. Welcome back to the channel and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Hope you all had a great holiday. For this week, we got week 14 of the NFL, and what does that mean? We got 13 games slated for us. And before we get started, I want to talk about last week's record, and last week was my best week of the season so far. I went 14-2. The only ones I missed were the Bengals game and the Jets game, so I can say for a fact the holidays bring the best out of me. But with that being said here, that gives me the grand total for the season so far at 119-74. With that out of the way, let's get on with the Thursday night football matchup, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos such as these. Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions. This Thursday Night Football, we have the Green Bay Packers taking on their NFC rival being the Detroit Lions. The Packers are coming off of a win against the Miami Dolphins, where they basically just kind of took them to town. There was no competition from the Miami Dolphins whatsoever. And despite the fact that the Dolphins did have a pretty good stat line, two with almost 400 yards in passing and 2 touchdowns, it was really that the Packers just had a solid defense in the first half, and they just couldn't really recover after that. So, Green Bay, you had a great Thanksgiving. Tom Grossi, you must be happy. Same can be said about the Detroit Lions. They won their game on Thanksgiving as well. 2 touchdowns for Sam Laporta. It was a really good game for them. They shut out the Bears in the first half. The only thing that was kind of weird about it was that the Bears were starting to crawl back in the second half. But unfortunately, due to time management, like not calling a timeout, and Detroit ended up snagging the win. For this NFC North matchup on Thursday Night Football, I am going to pick the Detroit Lions to win this one. I do have a gut feeling that it is going to be a close game, but I just think that the home field advantage, Jared Goff and the rest of his crew for Detroit is going to win. Detroit wins this 31-22. Atlanta Falcons and Minnesota Vikings. The Atlanta Falcons dropped a close one to the Los Angeles Chargers last week. The game came down to the wire, with the Chargers pulling out a 17-13 victory. The Falcons defense, they put up a strong fight, sacking Justin Herbert 5 times, but costly turnovers proved to be their downfall. Kirk Cousins threw a crucial interception that was returned for a touchdown. He actually threw 4 interceptions that game, ultimately sealing the Chargers' win. Despite the loss, the Falcons remained in the playoff hunt and will look to bounce back in their upcoming games. For the Minnesota Vikings, they pulled off a thrilling comeback win over the Arizona Cardinals last week. In a back-and-forth game that went down to the wire, the Vikings emerged victorious with a score of 23-22. The Cardinals jumped up to an early lead, but the Vikings fought back with a strong second-half performance. Key play from the game was Aaron Jones' touchdown, which was a reception to Sam Darnold, which got them the lead, which sealed the fate for the Cardinals. It may come as a shock to all of you, but I am going to pick the upset for this one, being the Atlanta Falcons on the road to take the win over the Vikings. I just feel like this is going to be one of those games that Kirk Cousins just gets 3 touchdowns, almost 400 yards in passing, but who knows. Atlanta wins this on the road 24-20. Jacksonville Jaguars and Tennessee Titans. The Jacksonville Jaguars suffered a tough loss to the Houston Texans last week in a game marred by controversy. With just 4 minutes left in the second quarter, Trevor Lawrence rolled out to the left for a potential quarterback scramble, sliding, and then he ended up taking a massive hit to the head by Azeez Al-Shaair, a linebacker for the Houston Texans, which ended up being a automatic ejection as well as a 3-game suspension. Despite Mac Jones having to come back in for Trevor Lawrence, they did get it down to 3 points, but ultimately Houston ended up winning 23-20. For the Tennessee Titans, they had a tough outing against the Washington Commanders last week, falling short with a final score of 19-42. The Titans struggled to contain the Commanders' offense, and their own offensive efforts were hampered by turnovers and penalties. Despite the loss, there were some bright spots for the Titans, including a strong performance by rookie quarterback Will Levis, Mayo Boy. He had 2 touchdown passes for 212 yards, both of them going to Nick Westbrook-Akine. But other than that, not much else to say about the offense. I'm going to be as unbiased as I possibly can. Both of these are divisional rivals for my team. Both are really terrible teams. Both are looking towards the future rather than win now. I have to pick the Tennessee Titans to win this one. I think they just have a little bit more fire in the tank. Who knows if Mac Jones is going to be playing or Trevor Lawrence is going to play. But just give me Titans to win this at home, 28-21. New Orleans Saints and New York Giants. With the exception of Seattle versus the New York Jets, I believe that the Saints versus the LA Rams was one of the most boring games I had ever watched. Despite it being a 21-14 game, Derek Carr only threw for 184 yards to Matt Stafford's 183. Yes, a 1 yard difference. And yes, there was a lot of running. Kyren Williams had 104 yards with a touchdown. Alvin Kamara had 112 yards. But the stats really don't show how the game was. It was just a boring game, nonetheless. I ended up switching over to the Eagles game right after halftime. For the New York Giants, you guys had an appearance on Thanksgiving against the Dallas Cowboys where you guys really were, not really expected to win whatsoever. But Drew Lock, stepping in for the injured Tommy DeVito, he did a pretty decent job. Yes, there was an interception, and yeah, he could have scrambled a little bit better on some occasions. But overall, I think I was quite impressed with him, even though they did lose. As I said before, and I will say it again, the New York Giants are heading for the future. They're probably going to use a quarterback in their first round draft pick. They are probably going to tank. So give me the Saints to win this one on the road here. I think Derek Carr is going to have a good game. Same thing with Kamara and MVS, everybody for the Saints. New Orleans wins this 24-14. New York Jets and Miami Dolphins. As I stated before, the New York Jets faced the Seattle Seahawks last week in a 26-21 loss. It was just not a fun game whatsoever. I mean, there were turnover after turnover. If you were a fan of the defense, that was the game to watch. But even as being a fan of the defense, you really were just kind of, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Disgusted?
I am disgusted.
And not to make things worse for Aaron Rodgers, but in the second quarter, there was a pretty decent drive going down, and it was picked off by former Jets star Leonard Williams. Demoralizing when the big man takes it down the field. For the Miami Dolphins, they had their matchup last week against the Green Bay Packers on the Thursday night matchup on Thanksgiving. And the stereotype was Tua and the rest of the team going to play well despite cold weather? Well, can be summarized just like this.
I'm so cold that I'm shivering.
Yeah, the trend continued with them not performing well in the cold weather, as they really haven't. I mean, you can talk about last year when they played against the Chiefs in sub-zero temperature. It was the same case scenario with the Packers. With this matchup, I don't see much else but to say pass. Yeah, it's not going to be a really fun matchup, but it could be. But I see the Dolphins winning this one at home. I think they're going to redeem themselves after a really bad game in the snow and in the cold. Miami wins this 24-17. Las Vegas Raiders and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I am so sorry, Raiders fans. I have to bring this up because it was the play of the game.
It'll be a 50-yard field goal from here. Drops it. Flag is thrown though. Flag will stop it.
My jaw dropped to the floor watching that. That was one of the saddest finishes I've ever seen in an NFL game. And I've seen plenty of crazy finishes like the Seahawks should have ran the ball in the Super Bowl, the Hail Mary, and the list goes on. But the one thing that I can't stand about this whole scenario is that the Chiefs somehow, some way, managed to win the game. And for the Buccaneers, you had a really close game against the Carolina Panthers, and what should have been a pretty easy matchup for you guys, you made it look entertaining. And I know it wasn't easy for you guys. Baker Mayfield got hurt in the fourth quarter with an apparent ankle injury. Then you guys had overtime, but Chase McLaughlin had that game-winning field goal for you guys. So hats off to the former Colt, one step closer for securing your division. Between these two teams, I don't see much of a challenge that's going to be given to the Buccaneers. I think the Raiders are going to be tanking. I think they're going to be looking for a high draft pick, and they're just going to look for the future. For the Buccaneers, I think they're desperate for the win. They need to push to get to the top of their division. And they're just a team that's ready to win. So give me Tampa Bay to win this one with a score of 31-14. Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers. The Cleveland Browns are coming into this matchup after a close loss to the Denver Broncos on Monday night. Jameis Winston, what a game for him. I mean, let's break it down here for a second. He had 6 touchdown passes, but 2 of those went the other direction. They were 2 pick sixes. Crucial ones to be exact. Well, let's not forget that he and Jerry Jeudy connected for 9 receptions for 235 yards and a single touchdown. That's just an amazing stat line altogether. But you have to give credit where credit's due. the Denver Broncos, they did come in clutch with those 3 interceptions on Jameis Winston. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, they had an AFC North matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals on the road where they beat them 44-38, sweeping the series. What started off as a crazy first drive where Cam Taylor-Britt intercepted Russell Wilson, taking it back to the end zone for 69 yards, it quickly flourished into a high-scoring affair for both sides, but in the second half, it was the Steelers that became very dominant. At the end of the day, 414 yards and 3 touchdown passes for Russell Wilson, a great game for him, but it was also the 21st consecutive season for the Pittsburgh Steelers having a winning record thanks to Mike Tomlin. As is tradition with all AFC North matchups, I think it's going to be a really gritty game. And I think the Steelers are going to find the win on this one. I think they're going to take the revenge from what happened a few weeks ago in Cleveland. And I think they're going to make a statement. They're going to win 28-17 over the Browns. Carolina Panthers and Philadelphia Eagles. This week, the Carolina Panthers are on the road to take on the juggernaut of the NFC, that is the Philadelphia Eagles. The Panthers, you had a really close game against the Buccaneers. You had them 23-23 at the end of 4 quarters, got them into overtime. You stopped them on their first drive, and then you fumbled the ball. Chuba Hubbard, I know that you've been working really hard for that team the whole way through, but you gotta hold on to the ball, man. Gotta hold on to it.
Adam Thielen already in field goal range, and they go to Chuba Hubbard. Ball's out! Ripped out by the Bucs!
For the Philadelphia Eagles, you guys are coming off of a win against the Baltimore Ravens, beating them 24-19. Now, even though that Jalen Hurts didn't have the best passing yards, he only had 118 yards for the whole day, he still threw 1 touchdown, but it was Saquon Barkley, 107 yards, 23 carries, and a nice 25-yard touchdown to seal the deal at the very end. It was your defense, though. You guys had Justin Tucker miss multiple field goals, you sacked Lamar Jackson multiple times, and he just couldn't get anything going. Even though he had more yardage, points are points. Coming into this matchup, I really don't have any doubt that the Eagles are going to secure the win at home. Panthers are going to be still looking for the future. They're going to find a high pick and they're going to still continue to rebuild. But I think the Eagles are going to take the win at home here with a score of 31-10. Seattle Seahawks and Arizona Cardinals. The Seattle Seahawks are traveling down south to meet up with their divisional rival being the Arizona Cardinals. The Seahawks last week, they went up against the New York Jets in a 26-21 matchup win. It was sloppy, as to put it in light terms. There was a touchdown pass from Geno Smith to A.J. Barner. There was a go-ahead winning touchdown by Zach Charbonnet for 8 yards. But the main highlight through all of this was the Leonard Williams interception from Aaron Rodgers that was taken down all the way for 92 yards. That marked the longest lineman interception for a touchdown since 2000. Short rant time. For the Arizona Cardinals, you are coming off of a loss to the Minnesota Vikings, losing by a single point, 23-22. Yeah, that is a really close matchup. But you had 5 field goals to your 1 touchdown. What is going on there? I mean, you guys had so many opportunities to capitalize on the touchdown. Your longest field goal was 40 yards. So you guys were in the red zone at many points in the game. So I'm done with my rant. You guys just need to capitalize on your offense. Marvin Harrison Jr. can't do it all on his own, and Kyler Murray needs to stop playing hero ball. See, the last time I picked the Cardinals to not win at home, I got utterly embarrassed because that was the Jets on the road. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals to win this one in a close matchup against the Seattle Seahawks, 27-21. Chicago Bears and San Francisco 49ers. This week, the Chicago Bears are going out west to take on the San Francisco 49ers. The Bears, let's talk about your last 36 seconds of your previous game.
No one touched him. And down goes Williams. Clock is running.
Sweet mother of God, what is the holdup?
Timeout left. You better hurry. You're going to have to do something when it comes down to this play.
What the hell?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. For the 49ers, last week they went up against the Bills on Sunday Night Football, and poor Christian McCaffrey got injured yet again. And my heart breaks so much for Christian right now. I mean, he worked his butt off to get back onto the field, working through numerous trials to see if he was 100%, only to have a PCL tear. So, good luck on the recovery. We'll see you next season. The last time I picked a team that had an interim head coach in their debut, I lost that one, and that was against the Saints. Same thing that happened with the Jets. So, give me the Bears to win this one. I'm just going to play devil's advocate on this one. Caleb Williams, maybe you'll have a fine game out west. So, 21-14, Chicago. Buffalo Bills and Los Angeles Rams. The Bills are coming off of a Sunday Night Football win against the San Francisco 49ers, where they just decimated them in the snow at Orchard Park. The Bills have so many different weapons that they can choose from. James Cook, Josh Allen, the list goes on. But let's talk about that one play late in the third quarter where Josh Allen ended up having a not only receiving touchdown, but passing touchdown to himself.
85% of the targets to Shakir completed. This is behind Cooper, who brought it in, pitched it back to Allen, who's going to go to the goal line and get in! No! Spectacular touchdown!
I mean, what else can you say? That was just some backyard football right there. And for the LA Rams, you guys had a low-scoring affair against the New Orleans Saints, where you won 21-14. A very forgetful game, not going to lie. There wasn't a lot of activity going on in that game, and I'll be quite honest with you, I just don't really remember any of it. Neither side. If the Bills have a weakness, it has yet to be exploited. And I just don't think that the Rams have that capability to exploit the true weakness of the Bills, if there is one. So with that being said, I am going to go with the Bills on this one. I think they're going to win by at least 2 scores, so give me them winning 30-17. Los Angeles Chargers and Kansas City Chiefs. For Sunday night, the Los Angeles Chargers are heading down to Arrowhead Stadium to take on their divisional rival, the Kansas City Chiefs. Last week, the Chargers took on the Atlanta Falcons, beating them 17-13 in a low-scoring affair, and 2 things pop into my mind from this game. 1, Lad McConkey got hurt. He left the game with an apparent knee injury. Hopefully he recovers and comes back to play soon. And the second thing is 4 interceptions by the defense on Kirk Cousins. That is an incredible stat right there for just one game alone. Kirk Cousins, I guess you were seeing ghosts. And for the Chiefs, your game ended somewhat like this.
Tell him off, SpongeBob. Assert yourself.
That's my ice cream cone.
Great. Now let him have it.
You can have it. Say thanks.
No!
Yes, as mentioned earlier, it was a controversial ending to that game. Was it really an illegal shift? Was it really a false start? Either way, the snap did occur. The Raiders did not pick up the ball. Chiefs got it, and they lucked out with another win. In this AFC West divisional matchup on Sunday Night Football, I have a gut feeling it's going to come down to the final drive, but I'm going to pick the Chargers to win this one with the upset at Arrowhead, and it's feeling like it's going to be some type of mid-20s game, so I'm going to pick them to win 26-23. Anyone but the Chiefs right now, please. Cincinnati Bengals and Dallas Cowboys. The Cincinnati Bengals season has been summarized in one perfect sentence. They are the best team to have a terrible record. It feels like a broken record every time I say this, but no matter what they do, if they score 34 points, their opponent somehow scores 35 or more. Misfortune and bad luck reared its ugly head yet again in their last matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they lost 44-38. Another solid day for Joe Burrow, where he had 3 touchdown passes, 1 to Chase, 1 to Higgins, and 1 to Yosavash. But due to a poor performance in the second half by the defense and allowing 4 sacks on Joe Burrow, the Steelers had their number and swept them for the season. I'll take things Bengals fans don't want to hear for 400. As for the Dallas Cowboys, they're coming off of a win against the New York Giants last week on Thanksgiving, where Cooper Rush, he really showed off what he can be as being a backup quarterback, but also being a solid performer too. And the defense came to play. Multiple sacks from Micah Parsons. I mean, it just was an overall great defensive and offensive game for the Dallas Cowboys, and we have yet to see that in a long, long time. That being said, my prediction for Monday Night Football is that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be victorious over the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry World. I think they're going to pull off the upset, and I think Joe Burrow is going to have yet again another solid 3-touchdown performance. Only this time, they're going to get the win. Cincinnati wins this 28-20. And with that being said, we are done with predictions for this week. So thank you so much for watching throughout the whole video. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe for more videos such as this. Until then, you take it easy and have a good one. Peace.